Today's lesson is Module 1, Lesson 2. And in this lesson, we are going to learn how to reason abstractly using place value understanding to relate adjacent place base 10 units from millions to thousands. Once again, we are working on the place value chart and we are discovering that when we divide, we are moving to the right of that chart, and when we multiply, we are moving to the left of that chart. Our first fluency, we're going to skip count by 3. Instead of me skip counting by 3, I'm going to play one of the songs I play in my class that teaches you the threes. If you have internet and YouTube, you can find this song along with all of the multiplication facts, and it just helps you learn your skip counting.
Miss Hippie, Smart Shorties, Just Elementary. Watch me crank them threes. Watch me crank them. Watch me crank them. Watch me crank them threes.
So the threes are on a roll. Watch me get these A's and go. Watch me crank that on the roll. It's Super Boost, the score, now watch me 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Multiplying, do you know? Watch you learn your threes for sure. Learn the factor of your threes. It's Super Boost, the score, now watch me 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Now tripping on my threes. Got all A's and all B's. Since I'm 3, 3 times 6. Do you know what that mean? The students wanna be me. K-A-J, you the man. They be looking at my 3, saying, man, do your thing, thing, thing. Why me do 3 times 2, 3 times 2. No, bet you can't do it like me. Ho, you know how to do your threes? Man, have I seen your threes? Man, them things was ugly. So your threes are on a roll. Watch me get these A's and go. Watch me crank that on the roll. It's Super Boost, the score, now watch me 15. 3 times 5, 15. 18. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 7, 21. 3 times 8, 24. Multiplying, do you know? Watch you learn your threes for sure. Learn the factor of your threes. It's Super Boost, the score, now watch me 15. 3 times 5, 15. 18. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 7, 21. 3 times 8, 24. We got those threes up in the O. Why me crank 'em, why me rock? Super Boost your threes. Yeah, why me get 'em in the brain and then let it lock. 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 1.5, yes, that's me. Double me up and have a 3. That's a 3, just like that. I do math forever I'm at. 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, 3 times 6. I got it all down pat. So the threes are on a roll. Watch me get these A's and go. Watch me crank that on the roll. It's Super Boost, the score, now watch me 3 times 9, 27. 30. 3 times 10, 30. 33. 3 times 11, 33. 36. 3 times 12, 36. Multiplying, do you know? Watch you learn your threes for sure. Learn the factor of your threes.
All right, so once again, if you want to hear this song, the full song, you can go to YouTube, type in Smart Shorties multiplication facts, and all of your facts will come up. So we have learned that the multiples of 3, they said 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36. So practice those every chance you get. Our next fluency, we're going to start taking out tens. So I'm going to give you a unit, and we're going to break that unit into tens and ones. So our first unit that we have is 83 ones. Well, if I take it out, I know that the tens place has an 8. So 83 ones means I have 8 tens and 3 ones. Okay. 83 ones means I have 8 tens, 3 ones. Our next unit, 93 ones. Notice what's in my tens place? The 9. So 93 ones would give me 9 tens, 3 ones. Okay. Notice for our next one, we have something in front of the tens place. Well, notice I'm only asking for tens and ones. So I'm still going to identify what's in my tens place. Notice I got that 0 in my tens place. Well, I can't just put the 0 in my tens place because that would leave my 1 and the hundreds off. So I'm actually going to put those and keep them together. So 103 ones would give me 10 tens and 3 ones. 103 ones will give me 10 tens and 3 ones. And I can prove that to you if you know how to count money. If I got 10 $10 bills, I have $100. So 10 $10 bills plus 3 $1 bills gives me $103. Okay. Same thing for this one. We have 113 ones. Well, notice my tens place is right here. But this one in the hundreds, I'm going to keep it together with my tens, which means I need 11 tens, 3 ones. Let's try one more. I have 163 ones. What digit is in the tens place? Right, the 6. What do I have to do with that 1 that's in front of it? Carry it along with the 6. So that means we need 16 tens and 3 ones. Okay. So let's get into our lesson. We are still multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. Refresh your memory from lesson 1. Remember on the place value chart, when we multiplied, we shifted our decimals to the left because the left gets bigger. And when we divided, we shifted our digits to the right because the right gets smaller. So we start by writing our number on the place value chart. I have 367. So I'm going to write each digit in its place value. We have 367. We are multiplying by 10. Remember, when we multiply, my digits need to shift to the left. And that 10 tells me to shift it 1 time because there's 1 0. So that means my 3 shifts to the left 1 time. My 6 shifts to the left 1 time. My 7 shifts to the left 1 time. Notice I'm not at my decimal. What will get me there? Right, a 0. Remember, to get back to my decimal, I simply add a 0 in empty place values. So that tells me that 367 times 10 gives me 3,670. Okay. Now let's take that same number, 367, and we're going to divide it by 10. Well, remember in lesson 1, when we divided, we shifted to the right. And when we use 10, we only shifted 1 time because 10 has 1 0. So that means every digit needs to shift to the right 1 time. So my 7 is going right 1 time. My 6 is going right 1 time. My 3 is going right 1 time. My decimal is right here in the middle of the number, which means I don't need to add any zeros because I'm at my decimal. So that tells me that 367 divided by 10 gives me 36 and 7 tenths. Okay. Now let's use a number that's a little bigger. Even though our number is a little bigger, our steps does not change. When we multiply, we shift into the left. When we divide, we're shifting to the right. If we are multiplying by 10, we're shifting 1 time. If we are dividing by 10, we're shifting 1 time. None of my steps change. Okay. So I start by putting each of my digits in their place value. So we have 4,367. I'm multiplying by 10, which means I'm shifting to the left 1 time. So all of my digits have to shift left 1 time. So I'm taking my 4 to the left 1 time, my 3 to the left 1 time, my 6 to the left 1 time, my 7 to the left 1 time. Notice I'm not in my decimal yet. So what do we need to get there? A 0. So that shows me that 4,367 times 10 gives me 43,670. Okay, let's use that same number, and this time we're going to divide it by 10. So I start by putting my digits in their place values. We have 4,367. We're going to divide by 10. Remember, when we divide on that place value chart, we are moving to the right. When we divide by 10, we're moving to the right 1 time. So every digit has to shift to the right 1 time. So I'm going to take that 7 to the right one time. My 6 to the right one time. My 3 to the right one time. My 4 to the right one time. I'm already at my decimal. Notice it's in the middle of my number. So I don't need a 0. So that shows me that 4,367 divided by 10 gives me 436 and 7/10. Okay. Our first problem, we used all whole numbers when we multiplied and divided by 10. Well, notice on this problem, we're using decimals. And instead of multiplying and dividing by 10, we're going to multiply and divide by 100. The only thing that changed is with 10, we shifted 1 time. So with 100, we're going to shift 2 times because it has 2 zeros. So we still start by writing our problem, our numbers in their places. We got 215 and 6/10. Which way does times take us? Left. How many times for 100? 2. So every digit has to shift left 2 times. So I'm taking my 2, 1, 2, sit it down. 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 Notice I'm not at my decimal yet. So we learned that we need what in that empty place? A 0. So we know that 215 and 6/10 times 100 gives me 21,560. Let's use that same number and divide it by 100. So I start by putting it in its place value, each digit. 215 and 6/10. This time when we divide, which way are we going? To the right. And when we use 100, how many times do we shift? Twice. So I'm going to take each digit to the right 2 times. So my 6 has to go 1, 2. 1, 2. My 5 has to go 1, 2. My 1 has to go 1, 2. My 2 has to go 1, 2. Notice my decimal is inside my number, so I do not need any zeros. So that shows me that 215 and 6/10 divided by 100 gives me 2 and 156 thousandths. Okay, let's use another number. This time we're going to use 3 and 7/10. I start by putting my digits in their place value. So we have 3 ones and 7/10. We are multiplying, which tells us to shift those digits to the left. We're multiplying by 100, which tells me to shift 2 times. So I need to take each digit to the left 2 times. So my 3 is going to go 1, 2, sit it down. My 7 is going to go 1, 2, sit it down. I'm not at my decimal yet, so we learned that we need a 0 to get us there. So we know 3 and 7/10 times 100 gives us 370. Okay. So let's use that same number again. 3 and 7/10. And this time we're going to divide it by 100. Well, we know with division we are shifting to the right to get smaller. And we know when we use 100, we are shifting 2 times. So divide by 100 tells me to shift 2 times to the right. So my 7 is going to go 1, 2, sit it down. My 3 is going to go 1, 2, sit it there. Notice I am not at my decimal yet. So that means I need a 0. And I'm just going to add that 0 in that 1's place. So that shows me that 3 and 7/10 divided by 100 gives us 37 thousandths. All right, so now let's try 1,000, multiplying and dividing by 1,000. Steps still aren't changing. Multiplication still takes my digits to the left. Division still takes my digits to the right. When we use 10, we shift it 1 time. When we use 100, we shift it 2 times. So when I use 1,000, we're gonna shift 3 times. So I start by writing my number on my place value chart. I need 0 ones, 4 tenths, 800s, 2000s. When I multiply, remember, we are going to the left. 3 zeros tells me to go left 3 times. So I'm going to take each digit left 3 times. 1, 2, 3, sit it down. 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 I'm at my decimal, so I don't need anything. I don't need any placeholders. So that showed me that 482 thousandths times 1,000 gives me 482. Okay. My next problem, we're going to start with the whole number, 482. So that tells me my 4 is in the hundreds, 8 is in the tens, 2 is in the ones. We are dividing, which tells us to move to the right. We have 1,000, which means we move to the right 3 times. So I'm going to take my digits and move them 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 to the right. I'm at my decimal. So that shows me that 482 divided by 1,000 gives me 482 thousandths. Notice, we started with that decimal. We moved it to a whole number. Then I took that same whole number, divided it by 1,000, and took it right back to a decimal. So notice that times and division undoes itself. They undo each other. But that's for another day. All right, that's our lesson 2 for today. Remember, we learned how to reason abstractly using place value understanding to relate adjacent base 10 units from millions to thousands, which simply means we learned using that place value chart that when we divide, we're shifting digits to the right. When we multiply, we're shifting digits to the left. When I multiply or divide by 10, I'm shifting 1 time. When I multiply or divide by 100, I'm shifting 2 times. When I multiply or divide by 1,000, I'm shifting 3 times. All right, until our next lesson.